checked in. Looks like we have Tim O'Connell. Tim, can you tell me who you're representing here today?
Yes, the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, welcome. So we have Jansen Dell. Mr. Dell, you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, and who you're representing here today?
The Cincinnati Reds.
Okay. So we have Emily Ahouse, our zoning administrator, present. Welcome, Emily. And then Joe Feldkamp. Mr. Feldkamp, if you could take yourself off mute. Let me know who you're representing here today.
No problem. Hamilton County.
All right. Are you an attorney for Hamilton County or an administrator or something like that?
Administrator.
Got it. All right. All right. Are we expecting anyone else to join us here on the applicant owner side?
No, just the three of us.
Okay, great. I need to run through our hearing script, which will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll jump right into it. So this is the December 7th, 2022 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. I'm the zoning hearing examiner. The case before us today is case number ZH20220171. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. The hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If we did have anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented its case. I'll give the zoning administrator, Emily Ahouse, an opportunity to provide any testimony in addition to her staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. So for our purposes here today, I'll allow the three of you to tell me about this project, the background, why you think it's important, why I should grant this relief. You all can orient that presentation however you want. One or all of you can speak in any order you want. I'm pretty liberal about how you guys want to tell me about this. I just want to hear all the information. I'll let Emily weigh in if she would like. I'll ask some questions along the way. I'll let you guys respond to anything I've said or Emily said, and then we'll close it out. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. I may also refuse to consider hearsay testimony. That's generally evidence you want to introduce that consists of statements made by someone who's not present at this hearing. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom tech, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but if there's some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with the hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing here today, then the zoning code requires me to swear you in. And so if that's you, if you can make sure that you're off mute, I need everyone to raise their right hand and to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Who's going to be taking the lead here and tell me about this project?
David, Tim O'Connell with the Reds. We have our three representatives on, myself, who I'll make an opening statement. Jansen Dell, who is also with the Reds. He's on to address any specific questions that you might have about the signage. And then Joe Feldkamp is our liaison with the county. As you know, this is a county-owned building. And even though we are the tenant, so we thought it was appropriate to have our landlord represented so that the city will realize that we have their blessing with this application. So
Sure.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to discuss our application with you today. We appreciate it. And we appreciate all the help and direction we got from the staff, Emily, Cassandra. While we have been in front of this board before, it certainly is not a routine for us. So all the assistance and direction we got was greatly appreciated. Just a real quick background, and David, you probably already know this, but just for the record, the state of Ohio legalized sports gaming to be effective January 1st, 2023. Now, I'll preface this by saying we heard yesterday that there might be the opportunity of opening up sports gaming on December 31st this year. The state is looking at it because of the college football playoffs. So it's either going to be December 31st or January 1st. Subsequently, the Reds seeked out a partner that would bring a legitimate operation, to our community and be part of that community. We found BetMGM, an international company that's certainly a name that we all recognize, that have successfully not only been in the gaming business on a grand scale, but they have a sports book with our counterparts in Washington, D.C. with the Nationals. We as a group decided that we wanted to make the gaming available as soon as the law permitted, but that a permanent sports book would take a number of months to build. So we agreed to use an existing area, our machine room, as a temporary location until the permanent site, which will be along Joe Nuxhall Way, if approved, sometime in 2024. We subsequently invested $1.5 million in renovating the machine room in order to have it appropriately serve as a gaming facility. The machine room is a nice location, but it can be difficult to find, David. It is on the northeast side of the GABP, which puts it basically between the arena and Joe Nuxhall Way, that corridor there. We have firsthand knowledge or experience, I should say, that the location can be detrimental in locating. And that was from a business endeavor that we had from the beginning when the ballpark opened, where we tried to have a non-game day business enterprise through a restaurant. The site was originally, like I said, open as a restaurant, but it was quickly closed. And we found out that it was closed. Well, it was closed due to lack of business. And we found out that the difficulty in finding it was the reason for the lack of business. What we did not want to do is to make the same mistake twice. So while we had a great location for the sports book, our concern was, how do people find it? It's not on the street. It's between, like I said, Joe Nuxhall and the arena. So we felt that the most appropriate way to get people directed to this enterprise is through signage. So we put together the signage package, which I would believe that is in front of you, with the purpose of, one, providing direction in a responsible and respectable manner, not having big, bright and lighted and flashing signs, but having the ability for people to see the directions from the street, from the stairwell that is next to Heritage Bank Arena, and to make sure that we have this signage available from day one. Now, as I said, this signage, even though our definition of temporary and the city zoning definition is different, this will be a temporary installation for us. We're thinking that we'll be in a permanent building in about 18 months, at which time the signage will come down. And, then we'll certainly be in front of you once the building process, permit process for the permanent building, progresses. And I know that we will have to be in front of the city again in terms of what signage that we might want to put on the new building. So
Then
it's a temporary.
will the new building be, sorry to interrupt. Will the new building be outside of the stadium?
No, it'll be on the stadium footprint. So it'll be on the footprint, David, but it will not be in the bowl. MLB regulations require us that we can have it on the footprint, but it cannot be in the bowl, accessible to the bowl. We have a exemption for the machine room because it is temporary. But for example, you cannot go into the like the seating areas and then go into the sports gaming facility, or vice versa. You have to leave the ballpark and come out. So with MLB's regulations, we felt it was best to continue to put it on the property, but not try to put it inside the bowl or connected to the bowl.
Okay, thanks.
Jansen, do you want to give a real quick overview of the signage package?
Yeah, so like Tim started to lay out, we are bringing guests from a lot of different directions. So I think that's the main reason for the number of, we've got 24 signs listed, because they're coming from the banks, they're coming from the parking garage, they're coming from the arena level. So we really tried to capture the entire customer journey from all the different parking venues that would be utilized. So along each path, there is a minimal amount of signage for each location. And you'll see that the materials we used are mostly temporary. So almost everything is a vinyl decal. There are a couple of temporary banners, and the only instances, I think there's 3, where we used more of a permanent aluminum type sign was because it was on a substrate, such as a block wall or a brick wall that wouldn't lend itself to, having an application without some kind of a backing.
Okay. You mentioned that these are intended for wayfinding only. Is that right? They're not intended for advertising the sports book.
Yeah, it's wayfinding and identification signage. So there are signs on the front of the building that place mark that this will be the gaming facility, and then the rest are used for wayfinding.
Gotcha. And these are all static. You said static, either vinyl or aluminum signs. No electronic signs.
That is correct. Nothing's electronic and nothing illuminates.
Okay, not even external illumination.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Is there anything else you wanted to provide, Mr. Dell?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right. Mr. Feldkamp.
I'd just like to reiterate what Tim and Jansen said. I know the building really well, as does Tim and Jansen, but if I had to give someone directions to this location, I would find it very difficult to verbalize. It is tricky to get to. Secondly, I'd say that everything the Reds have done in relation to us being their landlord has always been done professionally and just for the benefit of the fans and residents that come to the ballpark. So I've never, in my 20 years of working for the county and being their landlord, have never had any issues with anything the Reds have ever done. They consistently do a great job that way. Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Feldman. I appreciate your testimony. Could you guys talk about how temporary this is, or how long you intend on having these signs up? I know you said that the new building may be done in 2024. Is that you had the idea to have these up until the next building's complete?
Yes, David. We are contractually obligated to have a permanent site for BetMGM in 2024. So our hope would be sometime second quarter of 2024. We're still in the design phases of that building. So, it's a little hard to give you an exact date, but mid 24 would be as close as I could get at this point. But again, we are contractually obligated to have that facility available to them. And once that facility is open, those signs will come down and the machine room reverts back to the machine room.
Got it. Okay. All right. I think I'll give Emily an opportunity to weigh in here. Emily, is there anything you want to provide?
Yeah, our staff report has our detailed analysis. We are recommending approval of the signage relief. Ultimately, Great American Ballpark is a unique building type in the DB zoning district. The sign code is really tailored towards your typical downtown tall office and mixed use buildings. So it's reasonable to expect some variation for stadiums in the DD district. This building does have a unique scale. It has wayfinding challenges. And so typical instructional on-site signage is limited to 6 square feet. And that would not be effective in all installations around the ballpark for effective wayfinding to the new temporary use. The signage they're requesting is similar.
I'm sorry, Emily, did you say that it won't exceed 12 feet?
6 square feet is what's permitted for instructional on-site signs. So some of the signs in their package are permitted. They're not included in the relief. Anything that meets that instructional on-site sign exemption. But due to the nature of the building and the need for wayfinding from a distance, trying to get to the machine room. Some of the signs exceed that. And that goes back to the unique nature of the stadium in the DD zoning district, where 6 square feet would provide adequate wayfinding in most buildings and sites downtown. And so that's, I mean, the signage they're requesting is similar to other temporary signage relief that has been granted in the vicinity with Paycor Stadium and nearby.
Gotcha. Okay. It is the latest Paycor application, is that temporary signage as well that was approved?
Yes, there was a temporary signage approval for this this season.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it. Anything else, Emily?
Nope, that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sure. Yeah, I guess this is for anyone who knows off the top of their head, but looks like maybe sign number 10 and 17, 21, 19 seem to be the larger of the signs. Could you, yeah, how big are those? I see the renderings with the scale relative to surrounding objects, but what are the dimensions on some of those larger ones?
Yeah, sign 17 is 72 inches wide by 324 inches tall. So I think that's roughly 6 by 27 feet. That is a direct replacement of a banner that already exists in that location. So that is why that size was chosen. Signage 10 is 400 inches wide by 120 inches tall. And again, there is an alcove above the machine room that lends itself, that sign fits inside that alcove.
Okay. That's not replacing any sign though.
That does not replace, that would be a new banner.
Are any of these signs replacing existing banner signs on the property? Other than 17?
Just number 17.
Okay. Got it. And is 21 inside the parking garage?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We're not considering that a sign for zoning review because it's internal to the.
Got it. Okay. Okay. What about 19? That looks like it's on the outside of the parking garage, right?
It is.
And what's the size on that?
Dimensions on that are 96 inches wide by 40 inches tall. And again, it's at that size because when cars are stopped at the stoplight outside of that entrance, it's a pretty good distance away.
Okay. All right, I think that's all the questions I have. Anything else from the applicants in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
David, no, just thank you for your time, your consideration. We appreciate it, and certainly reach out if you have any further questions.
Sure, we'll do. Yeah, so I've had a chance to review the application and the staff report. I think based on that review and on the testimony I've heard here today, that I am going to approve the application. I need to formalize that in a written decision. I also want to make sure there's no conditions that need to be attached to this. That typically takes about 2 weeks. And so as soon as I finish it, I put it into a PDF and I email it to everybody here who's in the hearing. And so you all have a copy of it, really just moments after it's complete. I'm guessing if, whether it's January 1st or December 31st, you guys are going to want to move on this as quickly as possible. So I understand there's some time constraints, and I'll be sensitive to that and try and get this to you as quickly as I can. Hopefully before 2 weeks, but 2 weeks at a maximum.
Thank you.
And yeah, if you have any, as soon as you get that PDF approval from me, you can work with Emily to get the permitting approved.
Okay, great.
And I would add, you can go ahead and apply for the building permits if you have things ready to apply. Zoning just won't be able to approve until we have the decision in case there's any other revisions or comments from other reviewers.
And
Yeah,
Emily, we
that'll-
just said, oh, sorry.
I was going to say that'll certainly expedite things.
And Emily, all we have to do is do the permit form and submit the same packet that we submitted to the for zoning approval, correct?
It is a building permit. I can provide you the number for customer service. You will probably need more structural information than what was provided in this packet, but they can better advise on what's needed for that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out to myself or Emily. If you'd like an update, a status update on the decision, you can reach out to me directly. Happy to give that to you guys. And unless you have any other questions, we'll leave it at that.
Okay, David, thank you. Emily, thank you very much on behalf of the Reds in the county.
Sure. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.